Hey guys, welcome back. We are headed on our way to Rudy's to probably work on a DLTX carburetor that is most likely the roughest DLTX that I've worked on. Everything is stuck on it. All the adjustment needles, the choke, the throttle valve, everything. So it's probably going to be a little bit of a project to get it apart, but once we get it apart, that's the biggest challenge, because we've got plenty of parts and pieces to put it back together. So let's head on over to Rudy's and see if we can't get something fixed. Alright guys, we're in the shop here, and this is the carburetor. I'm going to let you guys get a look at it. A lot of rust inside. See if we can get a better light. Same thing on this end, a lot of rust. And needles froze up, throttle's froze up, choke is froze up. But this needle turns, so that's good. That's, you know. We'll get it apart though. We'll see what we can do with it. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to blast everything that I can get at, just to try to make it easier to heat things up, get screws loose, and so forth. So I'll probably focus on inside the throat of the carburetor itself, around all the screws on the outside, the load adjustment, idle adjustment, around the throttle shaft, choke shaft, things like that. So let's get to work. Okay, we've blasted all the surfaces that are imperative to coming apart, heated it up with a torch, and then dunked it in a snowbank to quench it and cool it. So let's go see if we can get this thing apart.
Hold on to your butts.
Well, and this is where we've reached our first dilemma. That stem that the bowl threads onto, or I should say that the bowl slides onto, and then there's a bowl nut that goes on the bottom. That stem was completely eaten away. Whatever's left of it came off in the bottom of the nut. So now what we have to do is either repair the stem or find a replacement body carburetor, which is more than likely what we're going to do. So we'll see if we can get this broken all the way down the rest of the way, but unfortunately we're going to have to find a replacement body carburetor and have this stem repaired for the next one. So here we go.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
Well, I tapped the bowl off, and I don't even think that this body is repairable. This thing is terrible. You can see that the stem is cracked and eaten away all the way through there. Look at the amount of rust in the bowl here. I mean, it's just chunks of rust. It's just one of the chunks. So, yeah. This body, I think, is pretty much shot. So, we're going to have to do some digging, see if we can find a different body for this carb, and go from there. Well, guys, unfortunately, this carburetor is not savable. I don't know if you guys will be able to see, but... oh yeah, you'll be able to see. See that crack right there? Through the side of the bowl? So that's problem number one. Problem number two, I think I've already showed you guys, but this stem is completely rotted away, which wouldn't be a problem if it was just for the thread portion. We can cut that off and have a new end brazed on, not a big deal. But it's not only broken off, but this entire stem is cracked through here, and there's nothing left of this seat, which is where the adjustment needle here, the load adjustment, seats into the bottom of this casting. So unfortunately, this carburetor is pretty much all junk. So I'm just working on stripping it down, getting all the usable parts I can off of it, and yeah, that's about all we're going to be able to do. So we do have a couple of DLTX 10s. This is off of an Unstyled BN, John Deere BN, which is a single front wheel. It's just, you know, most of the time we can get these things apart and repair what needs to be repaired, install the new parts, and they're good to go. But this one is just, it's too far gone. There's nothing we can really do with it. It's going to make a really tiny boat anchor for somebody. So
where's the anchor?
At this point, I'm just going to continue blasting to see if I can get the main nozzle out here. I'll heat it up a couple more times, see if I can get these drill plugs out just for the sake of getting them out, and then see if we can salvage this needle. But I'm not going to bet on it, just because most of the time when these things are stuck, the needle, like here, I've got a broken one here. You can see the needle either breaks off right underneath the handle portion, or the needle itself comes out of the threads. So we'll see what we can do. We'll see if we can get that apart, and the rest of it's going to go in the scrap bin. So it is what it is. You can't save them all, you know, but we'll see what we can do. Well, just as I suspected, we were able to get everything out of the carb, but we did have a couple casualties. The first, obviously, the carb body itself is junk. I've already showed you this. The bowl has a huge crack in it. It starts here, and it travels all the way down to about right here. So it's at least an inch long. That's junk. The main body itself, terribly... oh, yep, there you go. There's another piece that just crumbled away. But this whole stem is just junk. If it weren't for this stem, this carb would be good. But it's cracked this way. It's crumbling all the way around. The seat for the load adjustment needle is completely eroded away. It's missing the guide that's cast into the stem for the needle itself. Well, it wasn't originally missing it, but after heating everything up, it just kind of bing, flew away. So that carburetor is junk. And then the load needle, just as I suspected, it twisted apart, not below the handle itself, but it did separate from the needle, so that's not good. And this needle is actually, there's a lot of trouble with this needle. It's almost rusted completely through up top, eaten away inside of here. So that is probably not going to be usable anymore. Obviously, the bottom of the stem is still in the nut. It goes on here. But yeah, this carburetor is junk. Luckily, we do have some good DLTX 10s and bowls, so we can salvage whatever parts we could out of that, which is everything but one needle. And I was surprised that all the drill plugs came out of this, but like I said before, you can't win them all, so that's going to do it for this one. It's going to be a to be continued episode on this DLTX 10, and it's going in a 36 John Deere BN. So hope you guys enjoyed this little segment. I know it wasn't much, and we didn't have success in rebuilding this carburetor, but we had success in at least getting it apart and salvaging whatever parts that we could out of it. So with that, I'm going home. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. And thanks for watching and wrenching with me. Take care, guys.